Welcome to the CE Pro podcast. I'm Executive Editor Arlen Schweiger. As custom integrators know, there are many ways to build a smart home today, but one of the keys is always going to be interoperability between subsystems. With that in mind, deploying products that play nicely together through the Z-Wave protocol has never been easier or more expansive for creating today's cohesive control systems. With the CEDIA Expo around the corner, I talked to Z-WaveAlliance Executive Director Mitch Klein about what integrators can expect to see at the Z-Wave Pavilion and why there's even more possibilities ahead on this week's podcast. As always, be sure to subscribe to CE Pro's YouTube channel and hit that like button on our videos, or subscribe to the CE Pro podcast on Apple and Spotify and leave a review. Mitch Klein, Executive Director of the Z-WaveAlliance and Director of Strategic Partnerships at Silicon Labs. Thanks so much for being on the CE Pro podcast.
Hey, I'm really glad to be here, and good to see you, Arlen.
Well, we're always glad to talk to you. Mitch, let's start by talking about the latest developments that have been going on in Z-Wave and at Silicon Labs in terms of smart home and Internet of Things, if you can get us all caught up.
Sure, I'll give you a quick overview because, well, that's a bit of a challenge.
I'm sure it's been a busy year so
Yeah,
far.
it's been a phenomenal year. I mean, fortunately, Silicon Labs is public, so I'm not giving you any private information here, but it certainly has been our best year ever. Again, from the big picture from Silicon Labs, just so everyone understands, we sold off all the businesses that were peripheral to IoT, and we are now a pure IoT play. And what does that mean? That means now that we're simply manufacturing chips for IoT, for things that you all know, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, of course, Z-Wave, and proprietary, and then on the commercial side, things like Wi-Sun and other. But everything we do now has to do with driving the IoT, and of course, my focus has always been on the home side. From the Z-Wave side of things, I've been pretty busy taking the Z-Wave and the Z-WaveAlliance, which has been a wholly owned technology by Silicon Labs, spinning it off into an independent organization. What does that mean? Well, what it means is
Long
now,
hours,
yeah, right.
long days.
Actually, exactly, very long days. But it means really good things for all Z-Wave customers and manufacturers, because
In the
now as an
smart home industry, obviously.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it just means that other companies can participate in developing the software, identifying new priorities, new opportunities. And one of them that we came up with and launched, let's say officially announced in December, and products are about to come out, is what we call Z-Wave Long Range. And this is actually really important because, as we already know, all these different platforms and technologies are designed for inside the house. Get from one end of the house to the other end of the house. Z-Wave has always had the best ability to get around within the house with all of the construction materials. But with Z-Wave Long Range, it's designed now, it can actually go, at this point, we've tested it up to 1 mile range, which, you know, you can have a mailbox pretty far down the street and still be able to get messaging back when mail is received, to get out to the pool house, to get out to fence posts. So Z-Wave Long Range is a really, really big deal. We have a number of customers that are about to release product that will enable long range to be implemented into your systems. And like anything else with Z-Wave, it's fully backwards compatible and currently compatible with Z-Wave. So again, just to remind you, Arlen, Z-Wave is a mesh technology, and the long range is more of a star technology, meaning it goes from point to the base, point to base. You can have both, and the products will automatically identify themselves when they're installed. So it's not like the users, the installers, have to know which do I have. It's automatically done for you. So it's pretty cool stuff. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, and it sounds like the long range is
Mhm.
really going to expand the opportunities for the integrators, the CEDIA channel, who are looking at, obviously some of the more larger scale residences and properties that we know our guys work on, certainly. So in
Right,
terms
right.
of those solutions and things that are coming up, obviously we're all excited. CEDIA Expo is around the corner in Indianapolis, the in-person event this year. What's going on at the Z-Wave Pavilion, the Z-Wave booth? That's always a pretty jam-packed
Yeah,
area of the
yeah.
show floor.
Yeah, we're actually really, really looking forward to the show for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned, and certainly the chance to actually see our friends and customers in person. I mean, we all know how much we can't wait to do that. So, um, we actually have some pretty interesting things going on in the booth, and I think one of the newly launched products from a new member might actually be the most interesting of all, and that's the company called Masonite. And yeah, I have a Masonite sheet on top of my workbench, but that's not the part of Masonite. Masonite is also very big into door manufacturing. And they're actually launching a smart door. And you might say, well, what the heck is a smart door? But if you
I'm
think
glad you
about,
asked.
right, exactly. Yeah. But if you think about, like, okay, the entrance of the house, what are the things you want at the entrance of the house? You want the doorbell, you want a camera, you probably want some type of annunciator. There's a lot, and some lighting, and a lot of other technologies. These all get built into the door, so that as an integrator, all you need to do to the door is actually run power into it. Batteries are built into the door as well. So I don't want to spoil all the excitement, which I might have done just now. Um, but come by and see it. And you might say, well, what's a smart door? I think you guys are going to really like this, and I think it's going to be a highlight of our booth.
Yeah, thanks for the preview on that. I mean, smart locks, smart door sounds could be
Mm-hmm.
another natural new area there. And
Yep.
so what other kind of adjacent things and solutions from some of the other brands?
Well, we're going to see some new products from our friends at Yale. I know many of you already do Yale locks, and again, how does that tie into a smart door? That's pretty clear how that would work. So definitely want to take a look at them. We're really excited about a company called Qualsys, who they were purchased by Johnson Controls earlier this year. And Qualsys, as you know, is in this makes security systems. And I think one of the really cool ones is their touch panel, which actually becomes the smart home center, so that it has Z-Wave built inside. And some of you may remember the Certified Installer Toolkit, which was this ability to do all kinds of analysis before you leave the home. That's actually built into the Qualsys panel, as well as the Z-Wave 700 built in there, so it's long range ready and will work with all the long range sensors and things that'll be coming out later. So Qualsys is definitely something you really want to come and take a look at. We also have our friends from Zeus, and you may ask again, that's who's that? Well, it's got Z's on it, so it's clearly one of our guys. They are a product company that develops specifically for the integrator. And I think if you come and see some of the solutions they have, they're specific problem solving devices. And again, what's always wonderful about Z-Wave is you can mix and match. So if you have an entire home full of lighting, for example, Zeus may have a solution to one of your use cases within the home and will work, of course, with all the other lighting devices. So take a look at what we've got going there.
Yeah, and
Probably
it
going to
sounds like
forget.
they're really going to look forward to talking to integrators because they're asking for direct feedback in terms of where they want to go with solutions.
Yep, that's a really great point. And actually, all of our exhibitors are really looking forward to that too, as is Alarm.com, who's also going to be in our booth as well. And they're purveyors of probably the most comprehensive user interface for the smart home. And if you're not familiar with them, come by and check it out. So there's a whole bunch of stuff too, also in our interoperability panel. So come on and check it out.
Yeah, very expansive. Now, I know you're also really excited about, speaking of panels, not a Qualsys panel, but a smart home panel that Z-Wave has put together in store for the CEDIA Expo. What can you share with some
Yeah,
details that can help get some
yeah.
people to that event?
Arlen, that's a great segue. I love that. Panel to panel. So you're going, oh, geez, another panel. What is this? Okay. This one is actually 3 o'clock on the Tuesday before the show opens, and make sure you change your flight because you want to get in and see this panel because this is going to be incredible. So we actually have to submit our education proposals almost a year in advance, and it's very difficult to project when you're talking about technology what I'm going to want to talk to you about a year from now. So the original intent, which was to really talk about all the different platforms and why what each one does and why you would care about it. And by platforms, I'm talking about Zigbee, Z-Wave, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, so on and so forth. It's changed a bit because some of you may have seen the promotion that Amazon, Apple, Google, Samsung, and about another 150 or so other companies all got together and joined the Z-Wave, the Zigbee Alliance, and put together a promise they called Connected Home over IP, or Project CHIP. And the concept behind that was to make sure all products are interoperable. Sound familiar? It's something Z-Wave has been saying for 20 years. So about a month ago, that project was formally launched, called Matter. Well, what's the Matter? I mean, we can make all kinds of jokes about it, but that's the name, Matter. And what Matter is an application layer that's going to be able to communicate and be interoperable with all the products. I'm not going to get into the details because you can come to the panel and see. But what's really cool about the panel is we're going to have myself from the Z-Wave and from Silicon Labs. We're going to have the director of marketing from the CSA, which is the Connected Standards Alliance, formerly known as Zigbee Alliance. She will be there. We're going to have Kevin Poe in from Google. You may have known him from Nest. We're going to have John Osborne from Leaderson, who's also the former chairman of the Zigbee Alliance, and Kevin Krause from Assa Abloy, also Yale. So in other words, we're going to have the influencers. The people in that room are the decision makers who are making things happen in the smart home. You have never seen a panel like this. This isn't just a bunch of marketing folk. This is people who make stuff happen. And you have an opportunity to hear from all of the experts who are making things happen for the smart home. What does Z-Wave mean? What's going to happen to Zigbee? What does this mean with Wi-Fi? What do I care about IP? All these things that we're going to talk about. What the future is going to be like. Plus, you can ask your questions. So we're making the panel 90 minutes to make sure you can attend and ask questions live, the things that might be interesting to you to hear about. Don't miss this one. This is a first.
Yeah, and we know that Julie Jacobson, longtime CE Pro editor, is going to be moderating the panel, and obviously she was our smart home guru for years and years and years. So just all the insights and experience in that room are going to be fantastic. And Mitch, where will people be able to find that panel? What time is it, and how can they register so that there's no obviously it's going to fill up quickly with COVID restrictions on seating, I imagine.
Yep. So first of all, to the Julie Jacobson thing, you all know that she basically took a sabbatical. And just the fact that she wants to come back and moderate our panel is an incredible honor. She's awesome. I love Julie. And what's really cool about the fact that she's doing it is because she's been away from this for about a year and a half, she's going to have some really interesting questions. And we've told her she can ask anything she wants. So if you know Julie, you want to hear some of the questions she's going to ask. In terms of when, so it's going to be Tuesday, August 31st at 3 p.m. The room number, for some reason I remember, is room 137. Make sure you register. You're going to want to hit this session.
Great. So we'll definitely mark that one down. Now you mentioned, you talked about the mixing and matching ability of Z-Wave and how that's obviously just a very attractive thing for dealers out there. In terms of your interactions talking to either the vendors or dealers themselves, where can you say they're having the most success in terms of, cobbling together, robust systems, and where are they still, maybe leaving money on the table with, if they even know everything that can communicate these days?
Yeah, if you're talking about the integrators, obviously the biggest successes that we've had prior to all the COVID restrictions was always the security side. Because people have been locked down in their homes, it looks like all these other categories, specifically lighting and door locks, seem to be going crazy. That's leaving money on the table if you're not doing those two. It's money on the table if you're not doing security. I would definitely pay attention to that. But the thing that we're excited about in terms of growth and expansion is definitely an opportunity for all of you, which is getting into MDU or hospitality, whereby you're talking about relatively modest scale implementations in each unit, but you're talking about dozens or hundreds or thousands of unit, and then you can scale up. Z-Wave long range is absolutely perfect for it because now you can reach, essentially, you can go all the way from the 13th floor down to the whatever the technology closet happens to be. So integrators, take a look at this. MDUs are growing fast and furious. And of course, hospitality pretty much is the same thing. Just think about how many door locks you can sell in a hotel, 400 rooms, right? Occupancy sensors, lighting, things that you can save energy on, and that a property manager can make sure that the HVAC is not set too high during the winter if the rooms are not occupied. It's a lot of energy savings. So there's a lot going on there.
Mitch, what have you heard as has been kind of a successful or maybe typical approach that integrators who specialize with MDUs have had when they're talking to whoever the point people are going to be on a project like that? How do they even get in on on something like
Yeah.
that with Z-Wave?
Well, with the Z-Wave side, well, first of all, the majority of these MDUs and hospitality organizations already have relationships with the product suppliers. Okay.
Okay.
And so it's relatively easy to go to that same purchaser and say, if you're buying the Yale locks, how about buying this Yale lock? Or if you're buying thermostats, how about you buy this thermostat? So in most cases, they can continue doing business with their preferred vendors. Just switch over to a product that then becomes so-called smart. Or in the case of property managers, instead of calling it smart, just say monitoring. Being able to open up a door for someone that wants to take a look at a room or an apartment. Again, I've talked about energy saving, things like that. So it's really the property managers and that you want to be talking to and getting that information from.
Okay, and have you found, or in talking to either the suppliers or the dealers, that they're able to kind of go in there and effectively demo these types of connected communicating solutions for those property managers?
In most cases, they're already aware of things that could be done and they just don't know how to implement it. So most of the time, you're talking about the how, not the what, right? Because they already know what they could do. The other piece of insight, of course, is to see if you can befriend the electrician or even the general contractor. Certainly, electrical contractors are in there pulling all the wires, and they may be good ones to partner with as well. So keep your eyes and ears open for that.
Mitch, on the residential side, in terms of where integrators can best educate themselves and also make their customers more aware of what these solutions can do for them today, what are you finding there? How are they getting support from companies like, say, Alarm.com, which obviously has a huge reach on for the mass audience too?
Yeah. So again, yeah, you mentioned like Alarm.com. Yes, there are quite a few companies that are working directly with the builders and the home planners. A company like Hubble, which is definitely an electrical contractor, distribution, also directly to home builders as well. So you want to keep your relationships open to go down that road as well. In terms of some education, and I should say, when I talk about education, I mean capabilities. We did just relaunch the public website, ZWave.com, pretty straightforward. And on that site, there are tons of blogs, but there's also really specific use cases. So you can use our site to help educate your potential customers as well. Take a look at it. It's a great site.
Have you found that integrators are doing some unique things in terms of outfitting their own showrooms or show homes with the capabilities of the various vendors?
Yeah, I see more and more about it. And actually, I was just reading about one of my close industry friends, Gordon Van Zuyden, company called Cyber Manor. He's getting a little bit of promotion now, well earned, because he had this garage in the back of his office in Los Gatos, California. And I've been fortunate enough to visit him a few times and seen the project in progress. And he got to the point where he was just showing off like Kohler shower heads, instant water, hot water heaters, skylights, smart skylights, all these things. And he's actually put it all together and realized, you know what, I can recoup some of my costs and get some promotion. He's actually opened it up as an Airbnb. So you can actually, if you think you're going to be out in the sort of in the Palo Alto general area in Los Gatos, you can actually rent out his place for a couple of days and check it out. So that to me, there's your bar. You gotta hit that bar, right?
Right. I know when I was talking to Gordon about their new whole show home that he put together, and part of the plan was maybe not the Airbnb part of it. That sounds like a great idea there, but he was going to have it so that potential customers could stay there, so they could experience everything, so that interior designers and architects could go there and stay the night there and see all this stuff in action, so that people can actually experience those kind of things, and leave it
Yeah.
up to Gordon to come up with something innovative like that.
It's come a long way from when I had my installation company and we were among the first to put a dedicated home theater on display. This really outranks it. This is pretty cool what he's doing.
Mitch, lastly, just for in terms of the Z-WaveAlliance, as we move into, if we can look past CD Expo, just for the time being, and look ahead to CES, look ahead to 2022. What are some things on the Alliance's roadmap and initiatives heading into the new year?
Well, you're going to see further expansion of the Z-Wave long range and the products that are going to be available for it. You're also going to start seeing companies like Control 4, who's again, very popular platform and a really strong one, that is expanding their reach into Z-Wave devices to enable access to even more solutions. You're going to see those at CES. We're still expecting to have a good show there in Las Vegas, maybe a little smaller, just like the CEDIA show might be a little smaller. We're going to go to Europe, and we're going to hit ISE, Barcelona. I mean, you can't miss that. Barcelona in February, right? Gorgeous. So, we're still going to be out there with the shows. We're going to still be out there, and we're going to start building up our training resources. And we're always a resource to any of the integrators. If you're looking for products, we can always help you find the right products for your solutions.
Very good. And I know, Mitch, that we last saw each other at the last major show at ISE in Amsterdam, not quite Barcelona just yet. So that's obviously something that everyone will look forward to next year. But for this year, again, we're excited to see everyone at the CEDIA Expo in Indianapolis. So we will look forward to seeing the Z-Wave Pavilion, and everyone, mark down the smart home panel hosted by Z-Wave and moderated by Julie Jacobson. It sounds like it's going to be, just a fascinating session there. And Mitch, again, thanks for your time, and we really appreciate it. And look forward to what's on the horizon with Z-Wave.
Yep, it's quite a pleasure. And just if I can do one more plug.
Sure, right? Go ahead.
So Wednesday at the end of the day, come over, have a beer, grab something to eat, and check out the CE Pro All Star Band. Because Arlen, your team, you guys are sponsoring it. Of course, we got Bob Archer. You got to come and check it out. We got a really exciting set, including like Hootie and the Blowfish, Foo Fighters, even some old Sam and Dave, and maybe some stuff from the Beatles too. But come and check it out.
That's it. I put together the Spotify playlist for Bob, so I know exactly what's on tap. And glad we can have a pros pro like Mitch help plug our own event for us. So that's one great reason to have him on the podcast. But again, Mitch, thank you very, very much for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you and everyone else in Indianapolis.
Yep. Thank you, Arlen.